Greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers.
Oh
Greetings, travelers.
I did a little bit.
I never know when you're gonna sing.
I know that some travelers are like, we don't love Erika's music, but you know what? We need to have a little brightness in 2025. It's been a weird year so far.
It's been rough. We've lost some great people, and oh my gosh, and some legends have passed.
Yes. And so let's talk about some legends that still exist, because Eerie Travels was at Frogman.
Yeah.
And we got to see some of our friends, like Cryptids of the Corn was there, which is awesome. And Adulting Axolotl was there. And I feel like I'm forgetting somebody.
Map in Black was there. Yeah, he runs it. You know, Craig puts on a hell of a show. So, and man, we Frogman is it's one of those fun ones. It kicks off the year. It's if you haven't been, I mean, it's a baby Mothman festival, and it's getting bigger every year. It's 2 days now, which I thought at first was not going to be great, but it worked out great. They had a lot more speakers, a lot more fun.
Yes, so. And it's a great place to be up with those, cryptid people that you love and have time to spend with them. So anyway, it's fun. That was fun. We do have Eerie Travels has some different events in May that we're going to be at, but don't forget to check our website always for a list of our events. We've listed our events on there. We try to update it as soon as we can. So we put them there. But with that, I kind of want to cover something that's a little not fun, which is we're going to be changing up how we do our socials and how we communicate with you travelers, because the algorithms, for those that maybe don't understand this, I'll do a little tiny thing, which is behind the scenes, we have AI overlords that are feeding you what they think you want to see on socials such as Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. The problem with that is, unless as a show we tag at everyone, you won't see that you got notified of anything from us. I log into Facebook. I don't even see the people that I follow anymore. I just see things that they want to show me. So we're going to be migrating a lot of our socials over to a couple things. So one is we're going to be doing much more on Patreon. So if you're not a patron yet, there's a tier as low as $1, and you can join us there. And we're going to start in the next couple of months having little live mini episodes that are patron only episodes. They won't air anywhere else.
There's even a follow free. There's a follow free that you'll get the basic updates on. So
and so we'll be doing a lot more updates there, which we haven't been as great, but thank you patrons that have been with us. And then we're going to start a little newsletter off of the website. So very soon you'll see a little button that says, follow us, and you'll get an email newsletter update when episodes launch, when events are coming up, things like that, little stories we encounter, because that way you're getting it directly from us and no AI can interfere. And then, obviously we've got a lot of stuff that will be happening on YouTube. So there'll be new ways to follow us to get updated information. And we want to make sure, travelers, that you hear from us and everything. So just pay attention. We'll be talking more about that, but we'll probably be kind of winding down some of the other socials because we want our energy to directly go to our amazing travelers.
The other ones will still be there as legacy stuff, but it's a lot easier to get better contact with y'all this way and stuff like that. So we want to be more family connected, right? It's less layers between us. So
and we were talking about some breaking news, but then Mark brought up.
It's an anniversary, and Mo and Erika did not know about this. So
tell us, Mark.
March 3rd. This isn't our episode, gang. This is basically an alternate breaking news. But not really breaking news, but it is the anniversary of the Kentucky meat shower.
I hate that they called it that. It's so gross.
It's gross, but it also somewhat sounds like a porn movie. So I think we should
does.
What the Kentucky meat shower was.
Okay, I hope this doesn't awaken things in people. But this is from March 3rd of 1876. a farmer's wife with the great name of Mrs. Crouch was making soap on her porch, and then suddenly meat starts falling from the sky. And now they thought it was a sign from God, of course, but this was covered by the Scientific American, the New York Times, a bunch of other stuff. The meat was basically 2x2 chunks and bigger, and they thought it was beef, but two men tasted it and said it was deer.
American heroes, those two men.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still convinced it was like an exploded capybara or something, but who knows? And then some medical journal thought it might have been like lung tissue from either a horse or a human infant. So it's
those are
crazy.
Drastically different things. Like, exactly. How could they not close the gap between those two?
Yeah. So again, from my wonderful friend Charles Fort from the Fortean Times, it was one of the big things. It was in Book of the Damned. Some people thought it was like buzzards who they tend to vomit up stuff as they fly to loosen their load and stuff like that. So that could have been basically as a defense mechanism when they have to fly in a hurry. So, but
I hate to say
weird stuff. And then now the big reason we're bringing it up, it's also the anniversary. A few days later, March 12th, 1876, it happened again in London, Kentucky, but it seemed more like maybe vegetables mixed with red meat falling from the sky. So Kentucky, 1876 in March was a fun time to be walking around.
Apparently not. Okay, just for the record, as funny as saying meat shower is, I don't want to be walking around and have random weird pieces of meat hitting me from the sky. I do not want that.
Possibly puked up by buzzards.
Or who knows? I mean, that's the obvious, that in 2024, they did open at the Bath County History Museum, Bath County, Kentucky, does have a preserved piece of the meat in a mason jar on display. So that's your Eerie Travel.
There's your Eerie Travels for the day. Go look at meat that fell from the sky that somebody put in a jar in 1876.
that they found in their yard. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that amazing travelers whom we love, let's jump into some listener tales. We're still getting caught up, so if you're hearing,
oh my gosh,
we love them. Keep them coming, but these might be some that you guys all sent in a little bit ago. But Mark, do you want to kick us off?
I'll kick us off, and we're trying to catch up, gang, and these are amazing. So please keep them coming. Just because we haven't got to you yet, we might still. It's there's so many. All right, yeah. So here we go.
Wait! I do need to say, just so travelers understand, we are recording this in the middle of the day because I refuse to record these at night anymore and have nightmares. So,
is that why we all had to get up early? That's why. So Erika doesn't get
on a spring forward day too.
I know
when we're recording, so
we got to get up early because Erika can't take it. Okay, let's go, Mark.
We all had 1 hour of our life sucked away. All right, so here we go. I work overnight shifts as a nurse and often take care of patients who are actively passing away. Oh, understood that.
Oh.
A large part of my work is to make sure that they are comfortable, clean, and I monitor the patient to keep the family updated on their condition. I've got to keep moving at nighttime, so I always help my nursing aides rotate and clean my patients. Besides, it allows me to keep close tabs on how my patients are doing. Well, thank you for all you do. That's
awesome. Absolutely.
Rough job. Last night, I was helping one of my techs, and we noticed the patient was starting to breathe much more slower and was starting to have pauses, though not for very long. Estimating when someone is going to pass is never an exact science, but there are signals that I can report to the family that the patient is having signs indicating that they are likely going to be passing soon. So after we finished rotating the patient, I called the patient's family to pass on what I had seen. It's unfortunately a little after 1 a.m. when I called the priority contact, but after ringing it twice, it went to voicemail. I left a message apologizing for the late call, explaining who I am, why I'm calling, and I left a number to call back. My tech and I are back in the patient's room again at 3 a.m., taking care of the patient, and now the patient's breathing is getting even more drawn out. Again, I call the patient's family, and again, leave a voicemail explaining how I feel the patient will be around much longer. At 5 a.m., I go to sit in the patient's room to chart on my mobile computer and just listen to my fella breathe. Towards the end of my charting, I noticed the patient's breathing had finally stopped. After doing a quick assessment, I called my tech into the room and we prepped the body for the family to come visit. I called the family again at maybe 6 a.m. to update them on their family member's passing. This time they answered the phone and came to the hospital right away as they lived close by. 6:30-ish, the patient had 2 family members come up to the unit. I guided them to the patient's room for them to say their final goodbyes. As I left the room, I closed the door behind me to give them some privacy in such an intimate moment. The day shifters were starting to filter in when I suddenly heard banging coming from down the hall from the nursing station. I quickly got up and investigated, as banging noises at 7:05 is the bane of my existence, and I found that banging had come from my expired patient's room. I quickly run up to the closed door and called out, "What's going on? Is everyone okay?" I pushed on the door handle to let me in. The door wouldn't budge an inch. I looked down to double check that I'm pushing the right part of the door as I hear a panic call from the other side. "The door isn't opening." Now, patient doors in hospitals are designed with a heavy emphasis on safety. There's a design to be simple so that staff can get in and out in case of emergency. There's no locking mechanism. It's a push handle. I try that push handle again and again. It doesn't budge. I shrug my shoulders and consider how I don't have to pay for repairs and tried pushing with actual man strength. And again, not a budge. I was in and out of the room all night, and that's not including my tech doing the same. We've opened and closed this door repeatedly, and now it's completely unmovable. I had to call engineering to get someone to take the door off the handle. Thankfully, the team came quickly and got the door off the wall, and I let the terrified family out. I left shortly after. It was 7:23, and I laughed to myself the whole way home. My patient wanted to spend more time with the family, whether the family wanted it or not. Anonymous.
Wow. I was getting freaked out there for a moment. I was noping out mentally. And then I find great humor because if you're not going to answer your effing phone, and that person heard the nurse trying, I'm sure, to get a hold of the family, that's on you, family. So you can be locked in a room. Yep.
No, you got it's odd the door had to actually be physically removed, but that is definitely in the preternatural. It sounds like some sort of poltergeist-like activity there. Now, we get so many emails from nursing homes and particularly hospice care, and they all have to stay anonymous. We understand completely on that. So, but this is not, you're not alone, Anonymous. There's all sorts of weird stories out there. So.
And this is something maybe a lot of travelers don't know, because it is something you can volunteer to do if you think you have the mental strength to do it. But a lot of times patients who are passing don't have anyone. And so they have made a lot of endeavors into making it so people do have someone around with them when they pass. So that's something you can volunteer to do, is go sit with the patient as they're passing, read to them, just be there, that sort of thing, so that they're not alone.
If you want stories, man, that's where you go, because you'll get stories. And I hate to say it, but people with dementia, people with Alzheimer's, stuff like that, they can't remember who you are or what you are. They might tell you things that they would never have told anyone else, and it's a great way to relive the past.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
So if you have the fortitude, then I suggest doing that. But thank you, Anonymous. I love that story, and you had me on a whole little wild ride as to whether or not I had to nope out and burn that particular hospital to the ground. But I don't. I feel good about it. So
stop threatening to burn down hospitals, Erika.
I like the 20-minute updates that reminded me of watching The Pit. So I'm good with that. So.
I love The Pit. That's
so my new jam, man. The plot twist last week. Not gonna say it.
Okay.
We're doing a podcast called Pit Watching. That's coming up. Promise.
Pit Watching.
That also potentially sounds like a porn movie. So here we go.
Yeah, we'll move on. All right, Bo, do you want to try this one?
Yeah, I'm going to do this one. Okay. Hiya, Mark and Erika. Well, hello.
Hiya.
Okay. Oh, well, it said okay. Okay, so a few years ago, I woke up and went into my kitchen where my mom was. I was wide awake, sat down at the table, my plate in front of me. On the other side of the room, my mom was at the stove cooking these tortilla bread things for me, like she had been doing the last few days. Almost immediately after sitting down and waiting, she walked up to me silent and put a single tortilla on my plate. Then she walked to the counter where she continued to making more. I thanked her for it, and before I ate it, I looked at it and I paid attention to how it looked, like the parts where it had browned and it had not, and its shape. It was perfect. I ate it, leaving no trace of crumbs or anything on my plate, and then said thanks again, and I said that it tasted perfectly. She didn't respond. I assumed it was because she was still busy with making more tortillas for me. I kept talking to her about how perfect the tortilla was, and she really didn't say anything. Finally, she said she didn't give me any tortillas yet. What? What? Nope. Oh, I just got goosebumps. Okay. Okay. She finally said she didn't give me any tortillas yet. I didn't believe her. I thought she was trying to trick me, but then I stood up and walked to the counter, and she hadn't even finished making any yet. She hadn't even finished forming the dough. I was completely confused, and I still am. I had no proof that she had even given it to me, and she didn't respond when I first thanked her and said how good it tasted because she didn't know what I was talking about. To her, I just randomly said that, and she never walked over to me or finished making anything. I sat down confused, then stood back up again, and at that moment, she had actually finished making the first tortilla, and it was still in the pan. And when I looked at it, it was identical to the one I claimed to have 8 minutes ago. I still don't know what happened that day. Kit.
Wow.
Whoa. Do you think she had like a time loop or something?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I think that's some missing time there. That was either you premonitioned it or we had another glitch in the Matrix type situation, a dimension slip, or it could have been just you imagined it. You knew what was you slipped ahead, not imagine, but psychically figure saw ahead what was coming. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, Kit, work on your predictions because I think you could get very good at this, and I would appreciate some lotto numbers sent to us.
Yeah, and
let's start working on that.
Think 3-letter symbols on the New York Stock Exchange for me. So
yeah. Kit, that's amazing and only super mildly creepy. So I do have goosebumps, but yeah, I'm gonna move on. Okay.
Or it could have been a future ghost giving you a free tortilla. If they want to do that to my house, tortilla. I'm all about it.
Yes, I mean baked goods. We're down. Maybe some gluten-free ones. Okay, Bo, you're up, my friend.
Okay, I'll try to make this short, but I'll put it out there. I'm camping over at my friend's place, right on the river, and I've been staying here about 3 weeks now. As house used to be here was blown away in the Hurricane Ian a few years back. It's right on the water, right on the edge of the park, very wooded. It was pretty cold out last night, so I turned the generator on, which I normally don't. I was running the generator for about an hour and a half anyhow. I've decided to go to bed. I was laying in the camper and the wind was howling pretty good, and I hear this bang bang sound real loud. And I'm like, what on earth is that? And later on, it determined that it was Bigfoot slapping the side of my aluminum boat, which is right outside the camper, and I didn't think much else of it. And I laid in bed, and about 5 minutes later, with the generator running at the edge of the camper, where my head sleeps above my head on the outside of the camper, I heard this ominous 4-dimensional sound coming through the wall of the camper vibrating through my body. I wonder what a 4-dimensional sound is.
What is a 4-dimensional sound?
I think he's like implying infrasound.
Like it was like whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Yeah, where you just feel it.
Yeah.
Feel it coming. Yeah.
It's so hard to describe the sound. It lasted about 10 seconds. My entire body, every hair on my body lit up and froze. Me almost in shock, and I'm not the light of heart type of person. So I snapped out of it and shot up in utter terror, grabbed my handgun, turned on all the lights to flood the outside of the camper, and sat there quite in shock and still trying to interpret what happened at that moment there. I just sat there and I was like, what on earth? Immediately thought it was some kind of whirly large creature. Had to be at least 9 feet tall because it was coming down on me. The voice from the outside of the camper. Oh, so it's a voice now.
Ooh.
So I immediately, out of the blue, went to the internet to see if there are any Bigfoot encounters here. And then I saw this Jeff Cook's encounter on a map that is literally a couple thousand feet from where I'm camping, which recently happened. And then I happened to have a friend in upstate New York have a Bigfoot encounter, and I called him in the middle of the night. Then I got up enough courage and all the lights on, and I came out of the camper and turned the generator off and looked around while it was pouring rain and the wind was howling. As I went to the front of the camper to check it out, all the hair on my body stood up again, and I looked toward the wood line with the flashlight and headed to turn off the generator. We turned it off twice, I think. That's basically the story. And that sound was unworldly, multi-dimensional sound of pitches. And it's hard to describe, but that's the truth. And glad to share with you. Thanks for listening. And this was in Myakka, Florida, which I know Mark has talked about many a time.
Yep.
And I don't like the sound of that.
And it's another anonymous. So thank you, anonymous.
Reason I will never go camping, travelers. So there we go.
Myakka is famous for the skunk ape, the like the silverback skunk ape photo there, and that area is Stacey Brown is very familiar with Myakka. I had some stories come out of there, my days researching that area of flying humanoids that like Mothman style or Bigfoot, and then Bigfoot gargoyles. At one point, somebody told me about out there. Myakka is a crazy swamp. If you go just a little south of Tampa Bay, there's this big just swampland, natural forest, and there could be a lot of stuff out there. So yeah, that's dark territory.
Do Bigfoot often have multiple pitch sounding roars?
Meldrum had the Sierra sounds, which no offense to Jeff Meldrum, I'm still not sold on the Sierra sounds. But which is going to get me in trouble with some of the BFRO guys. But and Jeff, I love you. I do think your work is great. So no offense there, but I do think they do make these deep guttural sounds. That's one thing we've heard from all of our Bigfoot hunters. Tim Dills and some of the others talk about how it just shakes you to your core when you hear one growl, and you'll feel that when you go near like a big cat in a zoo. Or gorilla.
Yeah, like you feel it in your chest.
You feel like that. It's like, oh my God. And that's exactly sounds like what was going on here. So it could have been Bigfoot, could have been Dogman, could be anything. But it also could just be a big, there are Florida Panthers out there too, and they make sounds like that too. So
well, and the other thing I was going to say is, travelers, if you do go out into areas like this one, every area has different things, but do get yourself educated, because there are other predators that are out in the swamps of Florida and stuff like that. There is a huge gator. There are large snakes. There are cats. There are all kinds of things outside of cryptids in those areas that definitely will eat and do bad things to humans. So just get yourself educated. If you decide to go camping out there, no, I will not join you. Don't bother asking. Thank you, Anonymous. So Mark, I think it's you again, my friend.
Again, yeah. Spring 2004, Texas. Here's my report for you all. Well, I like that. Thank you for reporting. Document. So
setting the scene.
Yep. I was hog hunting from a tree stand next to the Sabine River. I had gone to my stand at around 5:30 a.m., put out sliced apples and table scraps to hold the hogs for a few minutes for a shot. I got in my tree stand and waited for the woods to settle down and the sun to rise. At sunup, I heard hogs rooting around, working the river's edge towards me. I could first see them to my left at about 45 degrees and about 50 yards out. no clear shot, waiting for them to get to my bait area. I noticed movement to my right at about 80 yards out. Putting my rifle scope on it, I could see only the side of something's face. It was dark, hair covered, and slowly moving its head around, looking in the direction of the hogs. At this time, it quickly moved to another tree. I could see most of its body. It was huge, standing on two legs, slowly looking around the tree at the hogs. At this time, I was quite afraid, but tried to keep my scope on it to study its features. The hogs were still feeding towards my bait area, and the animal was working towards the hogs. It moved quickly and disappeared. It quickly reappeared, moving to another tree, still looking at the hogs. I could again study its features. At this time, I was quite afraid, but tried to keep my scope on it. Its movement from tree to tree was a quick leap, landing at the base of the next tree on 2 feet, standing behind the tree and slowly looking around at the hogs. This continued for several minutes until they were about 30 yards apart and almost directly in front of me at 40 yards. The animal dropped to all fours, bunched up its rear legs, and leaped. It took 2 leaps to reach the hogs, and it screamed during the second leap, causing the hogs to panic for a split second. The second leap ended with it slapping one hog on its side, knocking it through the air into the side of a tree. As the squealing hog bounced off the tree, it pounced on it, beating it with its fist like a person pounding on a desk. I could hear bones crunching with each hit. All this happened very fast, about 4 seconds from the first leap to the dead hog. The quickness of the attack was very unnerving. The 3 live hogs were in full sight. The animal picked up the dead hog, tucked it under its arm, and started walking off and let out a noise like grrr, whoop, 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 whoop. It was immediately answered from about 200 to 300 yards away by a shorter whoop, whoop, whoop. After a couple more steps in the direction of the answer, it stopped, dropped the hog, and turned to look past me. It turned back to my tree and raised its head to look at me, and I have never been more afraid in my life. I tried to keep the scope on its head just in case it came after me. It looked at me, cocked its head to one side. Its face had a curious expression as if studying me. It opens its mouth, showing its teeth, letting out a soft rrr sound. It then turned back to pick up the hog and walked off in no hurry, as if I didn't even exist. Tim.
Ugh.
Ow.
Yeah, that would be terrifying. Terrifying.
Speaking of the sounds, we've heard the whoop sounds mentioned before, and many Bigfoot hunters talk about the whoop, as just the way they talk and stuff like that. So
it's like the second one was like reporting, hey, there's a guy looking at you. And he was like, I better growl at this man so he doesn't.
I like the turning and looking back at him. It reminds me of that Robert Redford gif where he turns back and smiles. Yeah, I killed this thing in one hit. You try killing a boar one hit, man. Jeez.
Yeah, no, that is impressive, and no, thank you. Hard pass.
Yeah, we'll pop that into the BFRO database if it isn't already there. I'll double check, but and we'll add it to a couple other the Expedition Bigfoot database too. So thank you for that, Tim. That's a great report.
You know what I love about that report, actually, other than the fact that I wasn't there and didn't have to be afraid, is that's the first thing I love about that. But the second thing is, a lot of times people see Bigfoot in the trees or the footprints or what. This was actually getting to see one hunt.
And it jumped from tree to tree. That explains why there's no footprints along the ground all the time. It's acting like the stump jumpers and stuff we've heard of in the past. So
and that makes sense. And I love, because if it could use its sheer strength, there are a lot of animals. Yeah, we see ones with claws and stuff, and people think, oh, I'm going to jump and bite, because that's how a lot of cats, bears, that sort of thing are designed. But I love the fact that this thing just threw this hog into a tree. Like, that's a
boom.
Yep, great method.
And howled at the other ones to scare them away so he could get to the one. So
yeah, no, I like that. I think we need to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We're back. It's always fun when we're sitting here quietly in the videos. I think that's we should be like, hey, we're posing. You sit.
We should do like the old police squad credits where they would do the freeze frame, and they were too cheap to do the freeze frame, so they would all just stand there, and then something would happen in the background.
We'll work on our technical abilities to do that. So it is.
If we do post these as videos, which we probably will soon.
Yeah. So. I think, Bo, you should kick us off here, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Greetings, travelers.
Greetings.
I have a story for you. When I was 2 to 3 years old, I remember that the night was starless. The darkness was immense, and the only thing that illuminated the environment was my house and a lamppost that was on the street. At that time, our house did not have bars, and the street was dirt. I don't know what time it was, but I think it was around 9 to 10 p.m. I was outside playing.
What?
That's really late to be out at 2 years old.
I used to,
okay.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Different time. Now
different time.
I was out late, 5 or 6. I remember some of my early childhood memories. So yeah.
This is what I'm about to read is why you don't let your kid out at 9 to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Just then, a man appears out of nowhere and calls me. He was a Caucasian man with light blue eyes, white hair, and pale white skin. He was wearing a red plaid shirt, green pants, and sneakers, as well as glasses for his eyes. He was quite kind. He called me and grabbed my hand. He told me that we were going to see some relatives, and he was taking me to the darkness of the street when my mother came out and called me, since she was looking for me and couldn't find me. She shouted at me to come in, and the man kindly let go of my hand. His gaze conveyed confidence, kindness, and above all, a peace that I have never felt before. I had gotten a little upset since I wanted to go with that man. The peace and happiness that he radiated was something that until today, at 18 years old, I have never seen or felt such a sensation in another human being, not even in my own family. When he let me go, the man said, "Someday we will meet again, son." And he walked slowly, disappearing into the immense darkness of the night. I have always asked my mother about that man, who he was, and if it was possible that he was some flyer or kidnapper of infants. She claims that night she didn't see anyone with me and that I was completely alone. I was going into the dark with no one, alone. Those words still leave me thinking today and make me believe, along with other experiences I have had, that life after death is a reality, and it is more complex and full than we believe. Someday we will meet again, son. And this is from Anthony.
Why, thank you, Anthony.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot to break down there.
You should probably have your 2 or 3 year olds inside at night. That's what I hope that was a previous spirit friend for you, Anthony. But my mind, of course, went to immediately bad things.
I was like, that is a murderer. Like,
yeah.
My thought went immediately to the Fae or something else.
That's where I went was Fae. Like, because there's so many rumors about them wanting small human children and
training and stuff like that. Yeah, this could be there. That's a lot of bad and a lot of. I mean, now you felt that peace and serenity, so maybe it was.
That could have been. That could be fake peace and serenity, like some sort of like, yeah.
Look at us here at Eerie Travels. We will go to the dark and macabre very quickly. We're like,
don't walk away with strangers, even if they seem like they're nice. They're probably not.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to do the next one. Hey, Erika and Mark. Hello. Hey. Oh, I like this one. I agree with Erika about having invisible friends when you're a kid. Well, thank you.
There you go.
I already know I'm going to be terrified reading this. So,
well, Erika, you get the win right there. There you go.
Yeah.
Invisible friends. Well, that last story we read, I mean, maybe that was an invisible
Maybe it was an invisible friend. Maybe. Yeah. Taking them into the darkness of the woods. Yeah, that's great.
That's terrifying.
I love when my invisible friend takes me to the darkness in the woods.
Yeah, don't follow invisible friends to the darkness in the woods, because that term friend may not be quite as genuine as you need it to be. Okay, back to our story where I'm right. I just needed to highlight that. Okay. I used to talk to my dead grandpa when I was a little kid. Didn't even remember it. My dad was the one who told me, and he don't believe in ghosts. I regularly saw a translucent figure walking around the house, standing next to my bed, human-sized black figure swinging between trees at midnight, etc. during my childhood up to my teenage years. Then it slowly disappeared by itself. Fast forward to today. Okay, I already got goosebumps again. Woo, okay. I can still sense paranormal presence, especially when I spend a few days, weeks in a new place. The last time I actually saw the translucent figure walking around was like 15 years ago when I first moved to my first own house and never again. 5 years ago, I built a holiday beach house in an island, and 2 years ago, we moved to another house close to my first own house, but I never saw anything on both the new houses. I sensed a strong presence on the yard of my beach house, which was confirmed by a local elder, but never saw anything. Turned out my second daughter is kind of inheriting my sense. She regularly pointed and proclaimed seeing a person walking around in my bedroom when she was 2 to 5 years old. None of my other 2 children ever did that. Same as me, but much earlier, she stopped seeing spirits and never mentioned anything paranormal. She's 13 now. We visited my dad's house this Christmas holiday. I'm still here at my dad's house right now. Since my mom's passing 3 years ago, the house became creepier and creepier. 4 years ago, when my mom was first diagnosed with cancer, I'm sorry to hear that. Sending positive vibes. I witnessed the sound and vibration of wooden chairs being dragged back and forth on the wooden floor on the second floor at 1 a.m. twice 2 days in a row when nobody's up there. It was so violent and angry sounding. Of course, everyone except my wife just laughed at me when I told the experience. I was convinced that this house is evil. Well, we all know my solution to that. Okay. 2 days ago at 1 a.m., my second daughter, who used to see things, ran away from my dad's room. There were 3 of my kids, my niece, and my dad bunking together in my dad's room that night. She was never scared of a ghost ever. She laughed and watched scary horror movie, but this time I can tell she's really afraid. I calmly asked what she saw, and she saw a small cupboard-sized headless figure sitting on my dad's rack, and she kept staring at the headless figure. The face suddenly popped up from the headless figure, and she freaked out. Never, ever before. I'm a bit freaked out now, and this enforces my thoughts that this house is evil. As far as I know, friendly, harmless spirit will always take shape of a human being. Anything this weird, out of shape, definitely is sent by the devil himself. What is it? Exclamation mark. Busy convincing my dad to move back to his proven clean and good old house right now. Nope, out. Am I right? Lisa. Well, Lisa, as we all know, the Erika methodology of these situations is to nope out and then burn the house to the ground.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's the flamethrower?
Yeah, where's the flames? Yeah. No.
But I mean, here's the interesting thing, and it's interesting this happened after your mother passed, is I wonder how much of a protection spirit your mother was and didn't know it, meaning like her own strength and radiating that maybe kind of kept whatever's at bay. I do some research into the location of this house. If you want to confidentially send us the address, we can do some research. Mark absolutely loves going down the rabbit hole of such things. And we can find out if something else happened near there. But to me, what you're seeing kind of sounds like a fear monger. That's my first guess, is something that is intentionally feeding off fear because of the shape. I don't personally believe in demons in the Christian sense of that, like heaven, hell demons. But I do believe there are some things that are dark, and we've talked about fear mongers
negative.
A lot.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, it sounds like there's something attached somewhere and all that. So I would try support. Get a cleanse of the house from however you want. Either do it yourself or get somebody. Reach out. We'll get a team out there to help. It's that's some crazy stuff. It definitely
is. You could try the railroad spikes, the iron ones, see if that makes a difference. You could do the salt thing and that sort of thing. You do crystals. You could just see, because it may be something that's not necessarily attached to the house. It could be attached to a person or an item in the house. So something to think about, especially if you're at scraping and stuff. Maybe look at any items that were added to the house, a chair, a dresser, I don't know, something, you know, date coincidence. But I don't love that. So no, thank you. But if you send us your address, we will try to help you if you would like. So, okay.
Yeah. All right, Bo, do you want to do this next one? It's a little short, so.
Okay. I'm not what you would call a firm believer, but more like the open-minded skeptic. I have had my share of odd experiences, but nothing I would call a cryptid or supernatural. The one that stands out happened after my grandfather passed away in 99. I just missed my chance to tell my grandfather goodbye while he was still alive because I had missed my alarm to leave. After a 5-hour drive, I had missed it by minutes. I went out into the woods, angry at myself, and wandered for hours until it was well past dark. I built a small fire and stared into it while I sorted my emotions out. I looked up, and there was a pair of eyes staring back at me from just beyond the firelight. A cougar steps into the light and sits across from me.
No.
We watched each other for a while before we both drifted off to sleep. It watched over me until daylight when we parted ways. I spoke to an elder in a local Native American tribe years later, and he laughed, asking if I was a cat person because it sounded like I had found my spirit animal. I suppose it is why I am open-minded. Like you all, though, I never discount a story. And this is from Cameron.
Oh, hello, Cameron.
That's great. I love it. And I agree. I think you found your spirit animal. It sounds like the bobcat or the catamount or the panther is definitely a good friend of yours. So
that and maybe Grandpa had something to do with going, hey, it's okay, stay here, sort out your emotions. I'm sorry you missed me, but we'll have a protector so you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, Erika will not travel into the woods and just set up a fire and wait for a giant cat to come through. But Cameron, so much admiration from you from the scaredy cat on this side of the camera. So thank you. Mark, you want to dive in?
All right, this is a big one. So buckle up, gang.
Okay.
I'm 16 years old. My mother was in a bad position when I was 4, and I lived with my grandma from the time I was 4 to 8. I remember vividly the first time I saw this. I was in bed talking to my grandparents, and I felt almost like drawn to look in the hallway. I could see through the door as it was wood with giant holes in it as is the design. I don't really know how to explain it, but I felt like I had to look out of it. It was a very weird feeling. I looked out, and as absurd as it sounds, I saw a blue ring open up that looked like a portal, and a tall, completely black, pitch black figure stepped out. No eyes, no features, just a human as if it was pitch black. It's the darkest color I've ever seen, and it walked out of my eyesight. I instantly told my grandparents and was on the verge of a breakdown. However, despite my grandma being extremely into the paranormal, she didn't believe me. We've all been there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I've had encounters so many times. However, I can only remember 4 as I was very young. And to be honest, my whole childhood is a fever dream due to mental issues. And no, I'm not schizo and imagining these things. These were real. They had to be real. But the one of the encounters that's the next one, I don't recall what order I saw them in. It was a white one. It was right next to it. I was walking into the bedroom, and as I didn't see it through the door, despite it being white, it was super bright, like blinding. But at the same time, it was so dim. I don't know the right terminology to use for its appearance. Same as the black one in terms of height and features, but it was tall and had no features. I felt very protected when I saw this one, almost like it was trying to warn me of something. I was close enough I could have touched it. However, being a child, despite the feeling being protected by it, I ran out of the bedroom. I went and got my grandparents, but again, they didn't believe me.
Yeah.
The next time I can remember, it was in the middle of the night, maybe around 2 or 3, and I got up to use the restroom. I walked into the bathroom as I was sitting on the toilet with the seat down, and it looked at me. It didn't have eyes, but it looked at me. It moved its head and acknowledged me. I instantly ran out, told my grandparents, and at this point, almost every other day I told them about it, they still didn't believe me. I had a dream that night, which I can remember as good as these encounters. My grandpa went to open the bathroom. It was connected to the kitchen, and so was the bathroom. And this shadow person lunged at him and stabbed him in the neck, but there was no blood. And the thing had no knife or nothing. It was holding something, but I couldn't see it. And it was the most terrifying dream I've ever had then. I told him I would never go back to the bathroom again at night. There's an Erika response right there.
Yep.
Let's hold it till morning. All right. Okay. We're halfway through. A week or two or some point after the dream and the encounter in the bathroom, I woke up and I had to use the restroom and pleaded them to come with me. However, since you could see the bathroom from the bedroom door, they just sat up and told me I'd be fine. I walked out, slowly opened the bathroom door. As I got a glimpse into the bathroom, there was one standing there, like it was waiting for me. I'm literally getting chills as I'm typing this because, as absurd as it sounds, I knew it was coming and it was waiting for me. I ran back to the bedroom and stayed up the entire night next to my grandparents under a blanket. I can't vividly remember any more encounters. However, there were definitely more. It was happening at least weekly. My grandma recently passed, however. When I moved out, I was 8 around the time I was 12. She told me she was sorry for never believing me and that she had finally seen one as well. She was laying on the couch and we had a porch, but it had walls. I don't know the name of the room. You walked into the house and there was that room that actually into the house. And it was kind of like the living room, but through the door, that room to the living room. She said she saw one staring at her through the window. She got up and looked and it wasn't there. Ever since then, she believed me anytime I said I saw one. But that's another weird thing. I never saw them again after I moved out. I was maybe one in the corner of my eye, but I chalked that up to my imagination. It was never vivid sightings of them in the same room as it was like before. I still haven't seen them. And like I said, now I'm 16. It was literally 8 years ago. My mom told me about a week ago, which is why I'm writing this now, that my grandpa had saw one a long time ago and didn't tell and was just telling her for the first time. But he refuses to go into details at all and gets mad if you ask any details, which is an odd thing to me because I've seen these things before and he knows that. But that's my experience with these things. And every time I saw them besides the white one, I felt pure terror, unlike any kind of scared feeling I ever felt to this day. Also, a side note, my family has a history of weird things happening to them. My great-grandma had a dream where she was attacked by something and woke up with marks all over her arm. In her house, every one of the family says it was a ghost in the basement and they could smell cigars and weed growing down there, but she never smoked. My mom, grandpa, and great-grandma and grandma all said the time there was something down there. My mom had things being moved out of place in her old houses, like paintings and things in her closet that belonged to my father, and he had passed away when I was 3 months old, that she never touched. So at least I know I'm not the only one that's crazy in the family, or I'm not the only one that's seeing things. If you have any experiences similar to this portal I described, please let me know. I've never heard a story about the shadow people, which involved that, which is odd. Thanks for reading. I just wanted to share my experience. I know I'm 15 days late as well, but Happy New Year's. Please keep me anonymous as I don't want my mom to know.
Oh, well, hello, Anonymous. And that is terrifying. That really sounds like a hat man to me, but it's interesting that it's, seeing
the portal is interesting. That definitely, I mean, the shadow figures and then the light figures, that's definitely, I mean, we associate that with, of course, Christianity associates angels and devils. I mean, but the Babylonians talk about these things. The Sumerians talk about these things. Every thing in the world talks about these things as negative and light entities. So, that feeling we get of terror and that feeling we get of protectedness, you're not alone there. And I did reach out to you after getting this email, and we did chat a little bit one night, and I think she's doing well. So she's much better off, and she has talked to her mom since, and they are looking into some Wicca stuff for protection. So
I think that's great, and it's interesting. I'm just going to reiterate this again because I'm not saying that every kid sees invisible friends, stuff like that, but I think one of the big things is there's a balance between encouraging people and not acknowledging them. And it's really hard because a child tries to communicate something, and when they're shut down, it makes them feel like they don't have resources. And I say this from personal experience, right? Is if they're experiencing something real or imagined, there's usually either something that you want them to be able to feel safe in communicating. And if it's imagined and there are issues with mental health, then they need to see professionals. There's like a balance. So don't just shut down children's communications, because I think they're more apt because they're not set to already not believe in something.
And also, I do think something like Grandpa, where he refuses to admit he saw it, but then we'll talk about it. We get that with some of our Bigfoot shows and stuff, where people are like, oh, I can't believe I'm here with my grandfather who said he saw a Bigfoot, but then he won't talk to me about the ghost I saw in my house. And then later on, Grandpa, when he's on his deathbed, says, oh yeah, I saw the ghosts too. I didn't want you to think I was crazy. And that's the world we live in, sadly.
It is important. I'm not saying encourage and agree, but I'm saying acknowledge and support, right? Whatever's going on, because whatever's going on was obviously traumatic to this child, to the point where they had to hold going to the bathroom, which, as a big fan of going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, I would hate if I felt like I couldn't go to the bathroom. That would make me so mad. Yeah. Okay. I'm going next. Just so you know, listeners, this episode's going to be a little bit longer because we're trying to catch up, so we don't want to ignore a bunch of stories. Here we go. Thank you again.
We got like 4 short ones that I think we can slam out real quick. So.
Okay, here we go. So maybe 6 weeks ago or so, I go to leave my friend's house and walk home. It's late, I'm buzzed, and the moon is nowhere to be seen at night. So it's as dark as it could be. Oh, kind of feeling on that one, my friend. Okay. Well, outside his house, I dig out cigarettes, pull one out and light it. Before walking away, I hear a reasonably loud whistle, which I would guess came from the trees near my friend's fence line. Just a guess, as I know the layout well in the light. I look around at nothing in particular as to not draw unwanted attention, as I've read stories here about not responding to it. Yes, my friend,
yes.
Do not respond. Yes, high five already. I got to get to this person's name, but high five. Okay. So I begin to walk maybe a total of about a half a mile or so, less than a mile for sure, on one stretch of road, which is the majority of the distance. It proceeded to follow me. 2 whistles from behind me in the dark, and the third one came from in front of me. I'd say 30 yards in front of me, but up to some people's yard. That was where I had to turn right and head towards my place. From that point on, no more whistling. It was geographical standpoint. I live in a small town in Arizona that's very secluded and surrounded by a national forest, maybe 10 miles or so to the Apache reservation as the crow flies, and full of history of a particular nature. I would imagine I'm going to get several replies of being a skinwalker, as was my first guess. But I'm a white guy with no known reason I can think of to be targeted by such a creature, unless maybe it was bored. I don't know. What do you all think, Danny? Danny, I don't think it matters race or anything. Whatever these creatures are, and there's so many different ones, and they're not. First of all, skinwalkers are it's a Navajo thing, right? That term is Navajo. That is not what every indigenous there
are shapeshifters in every major religion and every folklore, and it was very common amongst the natives of our land, and that area does have them. But that whistling in the dark, that could be the behinder. That could be a lot of there's a lot of the hide behind and all that. Those things are Appalachian names for them, but they transcend. They're all over the place. So
so
you did the right thing, and you're still here to write about it. So that's the key.
You did the correct thing. Virtual high five, Danny. Is if you hear the whistling, do not acknowledge it. Like what you did to kind of scan, well done, but just keep going. Just keep going, because that's the thing is whatever these entities are. I'm going to call them entities since they're preternatural and
Yeah.
we don't know. But the different flavors of this, the problem is when you acknowledge them. So you did the correct thing. Well done. And your race doesn't matter because these things don't care about that. What they care is finding prey? Question mark? Victims? I don't love that, Danny. So well done. You did well. And I appreciate that you were slightly buzzed because that maybe helped you get through that entire thing without
that kept him safe.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Bo, why don't you do the next one? Yeah.
Okay. I lost my grip on this plane of existence. That's a hell of a way to start a story. Love
it.
I do that every morning.
Yeah.
Mark's like, where am I? Where am I? I was driving home from work today and saw the shape of a person. It was at the corner of this intersection, dressed normally for the weather. It was not walking, but was shifting about a foot to either side of where you could see its body. It vibrated in such a way that startled me for a second. I then focused more closely on it and could not discern any facial features at all. It was like looking at static on a television screen. I thought at first it must have a mask on of some sort. The car in front of me must have seen the same thing as I was as I slammed on their brakes with me narrowly avoiding them. There we both sat, feet from whatever this was, and it just stood vibrating with whatever it was for a face looking right at us. I could not tell you how long we sat there, but suddenly realized it was gone, disappeared. I looked to the car that I nearly hit, and they were staring blankly back at me. Suddenly, a car honked from behind me, and we drove away. And this is from Anonymous.
Wow, Anonymous. I'm going with glitch in the matrix, meaning a dimension shift where something was there that was there somewhere or other timeline.
I love that someone else reacted to it. So like it wasn't just them.
Yeah, that always helps when you know somebody else has experienced it as well as you.
Yeah, that's my guess. Dimension shifting, and because we don't know how these dimensions work.
It's something you saw something that we don't understand. That's preternatural right there. So, and that static face, we've heard that before. People have written in about that before. So I think this is some phenomenon.
It happened on the X-Files too.
I think we need to work on this a little bit. So I'll look more into that. Fun.
Yeah. Okay. Mark.
All right. My turn. Okay. I can see my deceased cat regularly.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I've seen Pet Cemetery. I don't love this.
Yeah, I had a pet cat. She was only 4 years old when she was unfortunately killed by stray dogs over a year ago, December 2023.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We buried her the day she passed. For the past year, 2024, I've seen her multiple times. For example, after like a month after her passing, I was walking down the street alone, that area not locally. I was just taking a shortcut and suddenly I heard that familiar meow. I looked back and sure enough, it was my cat. Now you might think it must have been another cat, but no, there isn't a single cat in the area who looks like my cat. She had white fur with orange areas. She also had eyes of two different colors, one blue, one yellowish. When I saw her, I froze. I couldn't process it. She ran into the bushes, and most of all, the bushes didn't rustle. That was the first time I saw her. Next one night, I woke up, was going to the bathroom, and suddenly I saw her in the window that she used to sit on most of the time. I thought I was just sleepy, and I rubbed my eyes, and she wasn't there anymore. I saw her 3 more times after that, and it only happens when I was alone. I saw her last month, and she was running away from the window. This is not made up. I'm generally worried about what's happening. Glory.
I don't know. That sounds nice. Like
I wouldn't worry. I really wouldn't worry. I feel like this is watching out for you.
Yeah, Glory. There's a friend of ours, the friend of the show, Brandy Stark, Dr. Brandy Stark, down in Tampa Bay. She has a podcast called Paranormal Pets, and she talks about people having visits from their dead pets and stuff like that. Often, generally, pet ghosts don't last long, just like pets don't last long in their life. So enjoy the experiences while you can, because it may not last long.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of pets look out for you. Like that is their main intention. I mean, I have puppies now, as we all know, but I thoroughly love cats too. My son actually just sent me a picture of a cat that I gave to him when his passed away. Ripley. And I think that they can just watch out for you. So I understand it can be jarring to see somebody or something that you know pass, but I would feel the intention of it because it sounds like it's just checking on you to make sure you're okay.
I also like that the cat's how she described it as having like white fur, but also some gingery fur and one color eye that's like one color and the other color, like almost like this cat was like in a halfway place, like initially, like it's like riding this border, and like it always intended to come back in a way.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much.
Who knows how many lives it's on? Yeah, that could only have been live 8. You know, you never know.
That's true. It could be. Yeah, it could be. That could be live 1. Like,
yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Erika, why don't you take us out with this last one here? So.
Oh, I think we can do a couple more, but okay, here we go. I thought I would share a recent story in light of the fact that many of us were recently at the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference. Some backstory. Maybe around March, my family was at a playground in Lithia Springs Park. We noticed that my son, who just turned 3, abruptly left the playground and wandered to the edge of the woods. He was peering in at a spot of a game trail, like he was about to enter. I went over there and asked what he was doing. He told me Krampus was there. Wow. Okay. Okay. Told me Krampus was there. Oh, gotta go back to this. I should explain that my husband's family has German ancestry. My husband's grandfather was General Patton's German translator during World War II.
Wow.
And the kids are familiar with Krampus and Perchta. Well, who's Perchta?
Like the German Christmas witch. We'll have to talk about her next time we do a Christmas special type thing.
Okay, cool. Perchta. Clackety clack that onto our list because I'll never remember that name. Okay. I asked where he saw Krampus and went in there. There was a spot where someone could stand and see the kids playing on the playground. I looked around, but I didn't see anyone back there or up in the trees. Fast forward to the conference. I come home with some of the conference t-shirts with the logo shown here in black, where I'm showing off my swag to my family. My son points at the shirt exclaiming, Krampus. I wore this shirt Sunday, and as soon as he saw me wearing this shirt, he got very excited and said, Mommy, it's Krampus. It's Krampus next to the playground. Well, hi, Rachel.
And if you haven't seen the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference logo, it is a Bigfoot. It's a skunk ape walking through the swamp, and that would be a young kid might associate that with Krampus, and that area near Lithia Springs is a hot spot. So
wow. Mark, I just saw the title of the next story, and I know it's going to take you out, but I have no choice.
I think we've got. Let's do 2 more because we got another one that I think is one you were.
How about we each do 1 more? Does 3 total? Let's
3 total. There we go. Okay, so vote. You want to do the next one, or you want me to do it?
I can do the next one.
All right, you do this one.
I love that I always get the ones that start off with like a stinger.
Title. Right. Yeah. We had a few. That's something we've noticed in our subject lines. Thank you guys for doing this. This has been awesome.
Is my husband hearing disembodied voices? My husband, my sweet husband of 5 years, just dropped a bomb, and this bomb with all caps.
There you go.
He woke up and said, I have to tell you something, but I don't want you to think I'm weird. I said, I already do.
How many times do I say that?
Every day. Mark's like, if I need to say something, you're going to think I'm weird. Yeah, so he says, when he lays in bed awake after everyone else is asleep, he hears voices. After ruling out schizophrenia, he explained that it's like a conversation in another room. He's hearing someone having a conversation in another room. That is in here. I didn't add that myself. He can't make out what they're saying, even though he tries to focus in on it. He said it's like listening to a TV or radio. It's like chatter is the word he keeps using. Yeah. Like we're still in bed, and I'm writing this in real time because what? I'm into the paranormal and he gets the experience and he never told me, but there's more. He then goes on to tell me of several experiences throughout his life of hearing voices like this. Once seeing a full-on apparition and having objects inexplicably move around him. He said he's even once. He said I feel like we're missing a word. He said somebody even once told him the paranormal activity in his childhood home is more active when you're here. Not to mention, he's sitting here telling me this like we're talking about the weather. I don't even know what my question is. He's probably definitely experiencing paranormal activity, right? Do I get an EVP? Get him excised? Just live vicariously through him? This is so cool. And this is from May.
Wow, May. Well, first of all, I love that your husband waited 5 years with you fully in love with him to go, oh, by the way, let me tell you about this thing that's gone on in my life forever. So I appreciate him fully. Again, another virtual high five.
He just had to make sure she was all in first.
Yeah. You know what I kind of wondered though when he was talking about the voices was, and we talked a lot about like other dimensions, other layers. Like we don't know how any of that works and how that sort of thing. And I go, is he's close to that where he's hearing the layered like very faintly, or is he hearing stone tapes around him of things that were left in the houses?
I have to say that this is something my kids and I both talk about this, that we hear that similar type thing. And that's why we've always thought, well, we live in the city. We're hearing, stuff, voices carrying from stuff like that. But now we're out here in the woods. I still sometimes,
also
sleep with white noise.
Yeah. Also, sometimes your brain like fills in gaps too. Like there's been times where I've been in the shower or something and I swear I hear music and then I turn off the shower and there's nothing there. It's because your brain tries to fill in stuff sometimes. So it might not be a ghost. It might just be your brain.
But I would but he did have a paranormal experience.
That's true, because with the stuff like moving around.
I would say get a white noise, sleep with a fan on or just a white noise generator or something like that. That seems to work with people who have this problem. So I have lots of psychics message this, mediums will suggest this, or get one of those apps like Calm or one of those sleep things that I used to go to sleep to new age music because it was just blah 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 deep chords and stuff before I figured out I could just sleep with a box band. It works great. May, that's awesome. Keep us posted.
Yeah. And if you are not seeing these things, live vicariously. I don't think it's bad. Like, we joke often, this is no longer the case, but Carrie, Mark's amazing wife, who's our amazing illustrator and does all of our stuff, she didn't have this a while ago. And now where they moved and stuff, she's now experienced some stuff, not at the volume that Mark does or I do or Bo does, because I think different people have levels of sensitivity and different kind of superpowers in regards to this. So have him communicate about it, because it also sounds like maybe he hasn't had somebody to really talk to about it, because he started off going, don't think I'm weird. And that's one of the problems, is that regardless of what it is, you have to be willing to have open dialogue. And that doesn't mean you have to encourage it. You just have to let the person communicate about it. So that's my thought on it. Okay, I'm going to do the next one. And then Mark, how about you do the final one?
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Well, this might have been one Bo should have done. I'm not sure if this is a dimension slip. Sorry. I'm not sure if this is a dimension slip so much as an amazing coincidence.
Oh, you requested these. These were the ones you were requesting. So you're requesting just to piss off X. Here we go.
Yes, here we go. And just for the record, I have to say now, every time something happens, my husband goes, well, maybe you pissed off X again. So I shouldn't laugh. X, we love you. No.
Yeah.
So here we go.
You're our best friend. All right.
Yes. About 15 years ago, I had an awful breakup and got a tattoo that says Alas I'm saying this wrong.
Alice volat properis.
Okay.
Which is Latin.
What does that mean? On my foot.
I'm trying to remember something about. Let's see. Oh God, my Latin is so rusty. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I
Okay.
will. Give me a moment.
Somebody, you Google that so we know what it means. Okay. So they got this on their foot. Years later, I randomly, unexpectedly moved to Oregon. I had lived in Ohio, and Oregon was not even ever a state I thought about moving to or wanted to live in. I was on a date one evening, and we started discussing tattoos. The guys would tell me that the phrase "elas filtat propoptis," I'm probably saying it wrong, sorry, travelers, was actually Oregon's state motto.
She flies with her own wings. Yes.
What is it?
She flies with her own wings.
Okay, so that's
the state motto of Oregon.
Okay. We was definitely a serendipitous moment, but the real shocker came 2 years later. I was in San Francisco celebrating my birthday with my then boyfriend and daughter. We were at the top of Lombard Hill next to a group of girls. I looked down at my feet or the road, I don't recall, and saw a girl in the other group that had the exact same tattoo, exact same spot and print and everything. I commented because I was excited, and one of her friends said, "Hey, you have to tell her the story." She had the exact same story as me. Bad breakup, moved to Oregon from Ohio, had never intention of doing so. She found out after she moved that it was the state motto, and joked that she knew she was in the right spot then. In hindsight, I'm pretty sure it was a glitch in the matrix and she was me in another life, because it was just such a crazy coincidence. I can't think of another way it's true. P.S. I have witnesses that this happened. I really wish I could have exchanged info with her, because 10 years later, I still wonder. Sarah.
Aww.
That is so kind of weird. That is really weird.
I love that though. It's it's synchronicities, thinking things, just energies pulled you guys together, and you had similar tracks. And yeah, I'm not saying that's paranormal. Again, preternatural. Something just happened, and it was very, very cool.
Yeah, and it's
the
very
world works in mysterious ways.
So. Yeah, very glitch in the matrixy kind of situation. So
yep, very much. That's what you wanted, Erika. You got one. There you go.
I do. Hey, listen, travelers, I love when you send us stories of things like this. Yeah. My next request is going to be this. I want monster under the bed stories. I want stories.
Do you want to not sleep, Erika? Because it sounds like you just told us you had a great night's sleep, and now you're going to ruin it.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes. I want monster under the bed stories. Okay.
Wow. We're gonna. Erika has decided to break the stocks of IKEA and mattress firm and.
Yes. All
right.
Okay, Mark. Final one.
All right. Oh, thanks, Sarah, for that one. That was epic. Yes. So, let's see. And made me try to revisit Latin in an early morning, which I was unable to do. So, all right. Sorry, Mr. Blessing. I failed you. Okay. So, I have a story to tell. Ooh. I'd heard this rumor for a long time, but I had a vintage waterbed passed down from my grandmother, and I absolutely loved it. It had a mirror on the middle of the headboard with cabinets and shelves on the sides. I used that bed until I couldn't anymore, and I finally got a regular bed and decided to do a mirror headboard. Since nothing had ever happened to me before all those years, I bought 2 of the door mirrors from Walmart and mounted them to the wall. Well, I like the big well there, all caps. I'm peacefully sleeping. It's morning time. The sun is out. I briefly wake up and want to change positions. So I go to turn the other way. I lay on my stomach. And as I'm turning, I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror. Behind me, standing at the foot of my bed, is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was a tall, human-shaped figure with bright orange hair like the Mad Hatter. Its face was grayish black with a huge hooked nose, staring me right in the face. I quickly jumped and turned around to face it. It wasn't there. I turned back to the mirror and it was gone. I have never put a mirror facing my bed again. I am 100% a believer now. I also lock and cleanse all my mirrors regularly. Samantha.
That was bad feng shui. You don't do that.
Yeah, do not, travelers, under any circumstances, do that. That is portal time. What are you doing?
Well, there's an old Appalachian tradition. You do not sleep in a house with mirrors. You don't sleep with your mirrors uncovered at night. And in fact, in my
Even your
bedroom,
bathroom mirrors, like, do you have to cover your medicine
as long as you
cabinet?
close the door to the bathroom, you're fine. Because there's an old tradition that if you die in your sleep, your body your soul lets loose. It might get stuck in the mirrors.
Oh shit! And then you're stuck there forever.
And you're stuck there forever. That's where Bloody Mary sometimes is. You're summoning ancestors that are stuck in the mirror. So so that's why don't sleep with mirrors. Period. That's just.
And definitely don't have a mirror across from a mirror, because
not in your bed. And then now the thing you're describing, Mad Hatter, orange hair, grayish black hook nose. That sounds very fey troll.
Yeah,
something like that.
I can't stop thinking about Drop Dead Fred.
That was my immediate went in my head too. Was somebody that's very Tim Burton-esque too. So yeah,
it is, but no, be very careful out there, because again, preternatural. We don't know how all this stuff works, but that is never a good situation. I know a lot of furniture sets come with a mirror on like one of the dressers and stuff, but no, hard pass on that aspect of it. Just put
I love that it was a water bed, like that they had a water bed with a mirror on. That's so 70s. Like, wow.
I miss water beds. They were great. I understand all the problems with them and why they went away, but they were nice for a time. So
it sounds like it'd be really loud to sleep on. Like every time you'd roll over, you just hear like waves crash.
That was exactly what you did, but it was fun. It was comfy. Again, for somebody who needed white noise to sleep, it worked. So we won't go talk about other things that waterbeds are good for. But but oh my gosh, travelers, those were incredible stories.
Yes.
And we got through a bunch. There's a handful more. We're catching up. So please send us more. We always want them. They are amazing.
Under the bed stories.
All right, and dimension slips and poltergeists.
Okay. I'm not asking for that again, because I asked for that, but that was pre-X story, and I'm willing to bet money as we get into the next stories. I'm going to have another email from X.
I'm convinced as soon as this airs, you're going to get one like minutes later. I see that. Tap, 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 tap. The angry tapping is going to be coming. So
yes, and there's literally nothing we can do about that. So in that creepy fashion, travelers, we absolutely adore you. Please check us out on Patreon, because that's where we're going to be heading soon. I'm hoping we'll have the link up on our website so you can subscribe to our newsletter, which we will be updating you on all things Eerie Travels. Keep sending us your listener questions and stories. We absolutely love them. We will be getting more episodes out soon with them so that you have them. We will have special content on Patreon in the next couple of months. And I already know Carrie is planning a really cool surprise from our patron members that are there. So that's very cool. And come out
with the new book, which guys out. It should be up shortly.
I know it's taking a little bit longer, but we are not.
Publishing world is the publishing world, so we do what we can.
Greatness takes time.
Yes.
Yes, Bo. Yes. So
others will pop out quickly. So
yes.
But thank you again, travelers. Oh my gosh, we said that enough. All right, let's move on. Let's wrap it up. Okay, so when you're out there traveling and you're documenting your sightings, you hear that infrasound growl, or you see something jumping from tree to tree, or you see a shadowy figure that's staticky face and moving from side to side or running on all fours, just remember, please document it and then go, Krampus is over there. And we'll see you on the other side.